Welcome back. Prominent figures trend on social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The posts are at times of an attacking nature and damaging to the individual's character. First Lady Monica Kenkos, in her International Women's Day message, said she will no longer be silenced by gender insults. She said these insults, mostly hurled in social media, aim to reduce women into the societal box of expectation. Let's take a look.
Fat or ugly? Check. Stupid? Check. Slut-shamed? Check. Too ambitious? Check. That's when they're not asking when or if my husband will impregnate me. That's when I'm not being told to shut up or to go back to the kitchen or reminded that I'm an empty-headed and a bad example to adolescent girls.
Welcome back. That was First Lady Monica Kenkos, and we'll get into more particulars with the following interview. Joining me in studio now to shed more light on digital rights is Dr. Sadrag Shihomeka, Senior Lecturer of Media and Educational Technologies at the University of Namibia and PhD holder in digital media. Good morning, Doc, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning.
Doctor, first things first, the First Lady in that insert that we just saw spoke about insults on social media in particular. This is an issue that women especially can relate to. What recourse or protection does someone have who falls victim to such insults in the social media space?
Thank you so much. The issue of, insult on social media or cyberbullying is not a new concept or a new thing in Namibia, and it's not only appearing to Namibia only. Other countries are also struggling with this. But what I want to say first before I go to the protection measures, I just want to say social media gave us, those extended powers and extended freedoms, unrestricted, freedoms of expressions that we will be able now to have access to a telecommunication device, and we create content and we share it with anyone. And sometimes people take it for granted that, they can make use of these, devices or platforms to punish an individual. Because, cyberbullying sometimes manifests itself because of personal hatred, or probably it is because, maybe they are taking, a revenge. So with these things now, it becomes more difficult because we do not have proper legislations or act. Though we have in-house social media policies, it becomes more difficult for us now to regulate it and to control the behavior and the actions of individuals on social media. Now, if you found yourself on social media and you fell a victim of this insult, digital insult, whereby your rights are violated, whether it is human rights or legal rights, usually, the best way that was supposed to be done is to follow the rules and regulations or legislations that are in place. And now we are saying in Namibia, we still have a draft bill on cybercrime, and we also have a social media policy use, the social media use policy and implementation plan. So we do not have a clear-cut policy on how to control those people or how to punish these individuals that are attacking, certain individuals on Facebook. So I usually say probably the first thing that we have to do is do not, as a society, we should not let, the perpetrators to enjoy that, great benefit of, discouraging, demotivating, or shaming an individual. So as a society, at least we should form up a protective blanket where we can now defend the rights of those ones whose rights are violated on social media.
But Doctor, is that sufficient in the absence of proper legislation to regulate the conduct of these perpetrators? Is it sufficient to form a societal blanket? What deterring effect will that have?
Yeah, it is not sufficient, but this is a temporary measure while we are waiting for these, media censorship, legislations that are coming or policies. But for now, we are just trying to, regulate these things from our individual perspectives. Because even in a traditional format, this is where it is coming from. For some of these individuals in a traditional setting, there's nothing wrong for you to punish or maybe to reprimand an individual, even an adult, in an offline environment. But there are certain procedures to follow. So what I'm saying is, if you also have an issue with an adult, your fellow adult, instead of doing it publicly, then why can't you follow the procedures and you meet that person face to face?
Very well, Doctor.
Yes.
Now, in the absence of legislation to guide and govern the conduct of the perpetrators, but also to protect those who fall victim to it, what constructive purpose would a coherent policy on social media and its implementation serve in this country?
If we happen to have a policy like that, people will also have a fear of just saying whatever they want to say, even if it is for their social benefit. Remember that some of these things that they are revealing are things that they think themselves that it has got a social benefit at the end of the day, because the whole society need to know. That's what they are thinking, the perpetrators. But the victim will take it differently, and they will say, no, it wasn't supposed to be in a public domain. And that's why now we have the issue of a perpetrator is thinking like he or she is right, and the victim is thinking like his or her rights are violated. And it may even manifest itself into retaliations, actions from the victims. That's why you find some people, they become so, horrible in terms of responding to, to what is happening on social media platforms. So now if you have a policy in place, at least it will serve as a guideline for us to be able to control the behavior or to censor, the content that they are putting on these social media platforms, whereby we'll be able now to remove them with immediate effect.
Thank you, Doctor. Let's take it one step further. You did a study on social media as a PhD holder. Talk to us about your research findings.
Yes, my study was more on social media and youth political participation. And I was looking at, how young people make use of social media as an engagement platform. And to be honest with you, these are good things because, social media is giving you that unlimited access to content, unlimited access to individuals that you were not supposed to have access to. But my key findings are that, individuals on these platforms, rather than using social media as an engagement platform to discuss pertinent social issues, they tend them down into, platforms where they can discuss private issues, make jokes, and just take it as simple, and they can just put whatever they want to put there.
Why is that the case?
Digital literacy, digital ethics is one of the, the two causes. That, on literacy, people do not know how to properly make use of telecommunication devices or technological devices for the purpose of it being more useful, to educate, to engage one another, to discuss a certain problem until they find a solution. They do not know. They may think that they know how to, or they are doing it properly. But, in other, people who are sitting on the other side, they can say, but what is this person doing? Ethics is also one, because ethics deals with the moral rights and moral wrong. And it can happen that what is right to you as a perpetrator, it may be wrong to a victim out there. So digital literacy and digital ethics is one of the key, causes of these things. And it is happening because our moral obligations, moral principles, the norms and values traditionally in an offline environment are also declining. And due to that, we are now passing them to the online, environment.
Doctor, that brings us to the next question. What is the correlation between digital ethics and digital rights that you just alluded to as well?
Yes. Once you know what is moral right and what is moral wrong, and you have a moral obligation, then you will be able now to say, what is that thing that I can share in a public domain, digital or virtual public domain, whereby if I share this specific content, the next person's image, reputation is likely to be, damaged because of what I am going to share. So once you know on what to share, how to share, on what not to share, then that will lead to a less violation of human rights on social media, because at least now you know the difference between the two. But what is happening is lack of ethics might lead to a greater violation of human rights online, because a person is not ethical, the person does not know the good and bad. The person might only think for themselves, and they are not thinking of the ripple effect that their actions online will have on the other individual or that organization that they are trying to portray social media.
Now, one of the avenues of recourse and ultimately sanctions that you referred to just now is for potentially defamatory material to be removed from the space where it was published.
Yes.
In terms of accountability, would you say that platforms such as Twitter or Facebook, WhatsApp, accept sufficient responsibility to take action in the event of defamation?
Yes. Countries around the globe and some regional bodies, they are also trying their level best to instruct and to inform and to ensure that, organizations responsible for these platforms, they should remove or delete harmful content that were created by, users that are residing elsewhere. And in case that organization is tasked with the responsibility to remove or delete harmful or, sensitive content or a video, then the government, certain authority should be given to a certain body. Maybe it can be a communication regulatory authority, should be given that power so that they can remove this specific content, so that it will not continue circulating within the public domain. That will cause more harm at the end of the day. So, but, look at this thing, media censorship also, it will also infringe on, the freedom of expression of individuals or maybe media houses. That's how we look at it, because, the ethics on the other side, they are not there. So we only think of I have that freedom to express myself.
But those are not absolute rights.
Yes.
Because, my rights end where yours start.
But some individuals don't know that. And it doesn't mean that you should not go to school. It's not only happening to those people, the perpetrators for this cyberbullying. It's not those people who did not go to school. Usually are people like me. Some of us, that's why I want to bring up these two types of, cyberbullying or cyber attacks. We have conscious, bullying and unconscious bullying. Some of them, like me now, I'm educated, but, still...
And then you bully.
Yes, but I do not know. The way it is so difficult to control and to heal a bully in an offline environment is the same way that it is so difficult in an online environment. Very, very difficult.
One slight step back, Doctor. You said institutions like Facebook try their level best
Yes.
to remove harmful content as soon as possible.
Yes, if
Many
requested.
people would disagree with that stance.
Yes, if requested. Remember, first you have to complete a certain form. As an individual or a representative of that specific individual, usually through your lawyer. You need to complete a form. It is there. Complete that form, you send it requesting that this content should be removed from the public domain. If you request that one, it will be taken out. Problem is, the digital footprint, and it is what we don't think of, is even if they remove it, some way, somehow, some individuals, they took screenshots already for that specific content, so that thing will remain within the public domain.
Thank you, Doctor.
It will be circulated.
In conclusion, what advice do you have for viewers this morning who've fallen victim to cyberbullying and online harassment?
One, do not let the perpetrator to remove your happiness. Do not allow perpetrators now to bring you down. You do not remove that self-confidence. So do not even, engage in long discussions, or long conversations digital with these perpetrators, because the more you are, engaging them in discussions or trying to defend yourself, the more you are giving them a chance and the power and authority to say, yes, I happened to touch her or him on that specific place where I was not supposed to touch. And look at her or him now. She is now dancing. So don't let yourself to be used. Don't let yourself to be controlled by those perpetrators of which you don't know their agendas.
Thank you.
Be yourself. Stick to your principles. Know who you are and what you stand for.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for sharing your time and your expertise.
Thank you.